It is August 13th, 2018, and this is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
Kicking it old school.
Yeah, guys, we're taking it back to the old school, the banter days.
Is it going to switch back and forth between the two of us, or is it just going to be... okay, cool.
It's going to be whoever talks louder, it's going to take if we're talking over each other.
So it's just going to be me the entire broadcast, which is super great.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys get a whole face full of Kevin the entire time. We're waiting on Dan to join. We just said screw
Dan
it.
Can't even be on time whenever he literally just has to walk into another room and turn on an iPad or whatever he's going to be recording from.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do.
He'll pop in eventually. He's going to end up calling one of us somehow, and then I'm going to have to hold my phone up to my camera on Hangouts.
Thank you guys for tuning in to a Home Before Dark podcast. I am Tim Herb, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley, even though he is remote across the other side of Atlanta, not able to grace me with his presence inside the studio, and it's a little disappointing.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But
I do not like it one bit.
I'm going to say that we're doing this to try to give Dan an outlet, but at this rate, I don't think he deserves it if he can't be bothered to show up.
Yeah, but, people saying, hey, normal or regular faces in the trap. Thank you guys for joining. We got Brian saying new format. This is actually old format. If you guys go and troll through the catalog on the channel, you will go back almost 6
rounder
years.
Much rounder faces.
Yeah, almost 6 years ago, you'll see us doing this exact same thing, but with these sweet like $20 Microsoft Logitech Microsoft Live Chat headsets. It was wonderful. We are. People are asking, who is this Dan you speak of?
Oh, Happiest of Joe's has an awesome idea. Maybe we can do that. You know how we did the fan appreciation show?
Big ass Google Hangout.
A big ass Google Hangout would be dope. Find a way to set that up next year. Oh Dan finally figured it out. Oh God, too close.
What's up?
Back up. This is gross. First of all, you need to turn the phone.
What?
Why is it portrait? This is ruining the entire thing.
And it's over. It's over. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
He's already gone.
Oh God. Maybe you should ask. You should probably ask your brand new baby boy to help you out with some of that technology, old man.
Oh, how is he still messing this up?
I don't know. I've turned it to landscape. What do you want?
Do you have screen lock on, Dan? You have screen rotation lock?
I turned it off.
Are you sure?
Yeah, so if I do portrait and then I go landscape.
Oh, this is a comedy of errors, and I love it.
This is why you show up early for these things, so that we make sure that we've got all the kinks ironed out. Clearly, this is not the case.
I definitely love the fact that Dan is joining us, gracing us with his British presence for the first time in how long, Dan? It's been a while.
Well, months.
All right.
Maybe.
Well,
where are you at?
I'm at my house in my basement.
Oh, okay. You have ACT down there. I thought it might have been like the locker room at your office or something.
Yeah, he's got nothing on underneath that shirt.
No.
That's what I talked about recently. Like I like going to the gym in just like a night shirt because I go to Planet Fitness and it's like supposed to be a judgment-free zone. So
did you hear about that guy that went in there naked and he said the reason why is because he thought it was a judgment-free zone? I'm serious. No. They actually arrested him. This happened like a month ago. They came in. He was doing yoga completely naked. He said the reason why is because he thought it was a judgment-free zone.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I got one of the night shirts I used to wear. You know, you would wear your dad's shirt to bed, and then
I didn't have that luxury, Tim, so I don't know what that would be like.
Hitting a sore spot, hitting a nerve. Thank you guys again for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. If you guys are listening to us on iTunes, Google, or whatever, Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, leave us a rating and or review. We'll read it out on the show. We don't have any new ones since last week. Anything else? It's been a while. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Dan, turn your camera back around. It's sideways. Just turn it back the way you had it.
Yeah, portrait's fine. Yeah, so we got some old school faces as always. Richard Gordon, thank you for joining us. We got a good bit to discuss. It was good that it happened the way that it did. I got stuck out in Denver last week for work. We didn't get to record and all that good stuff. We had a bye week. It was a little weird. Actually went over to Angie's parents' house in Wilmington this weekend, and it felt really weird because it was really looking, because I've told you guys before, we've converted them over to Atlanta United fans, and they're as big of fans as anyone I know, and like it feels weird to go there and not have a game to watch on a Saturday or Sunday. It was disappointing.
It was a welcome break. I was traveling this weekend too, and I didn't have to worry about setting up or finding a place to watch it. Oh my God, Dan, what are you doing right now? First of all, are you sitting Indian style in the middle of the roof?
I'm sorry. This is
crisscross applesauce. Sorry, PC.
Crisscross applesauce, hands in your basket. That is correct.
It's completely upside down.
Oh God! All right, this is going off the rails.
This is DIY. Do it yourself. I'm just gonna have to hold it. Lame.
We got in the trap, dude.
Yeah, Sean. Thank you. He says stayed up past his bedtime to finally catch a live show.
Good job, Sean. Good job.
Met him over at the MLS All-Star soccer celebration. It was awesome. Man, it has been a while since we've recorded.
Wow, we haven't recorded since then, even, have we? Yeah, because we had both that game and the Toronto game, and then we haven't recorded since. I completely forgot about that.
Oh, shit, Toronto game. Okay. Where are we going to start? Where are we going to start tonight, guys?
Do you want to start
Doesn't matter
the MLS?
Where we start.
We could just do like a few minutes.
Gouda Clark coming in saying, so all naked from the waist down. Nope, chest down for me.
Oh, I'm naked from the waist down.
This is one of those new crop top polos.
Oh, dude, I like the top button game though, man. Respect.
Well, I have to. Target's the only one that sells the 3-button polo, and I had to get this out of necessity last week in Denver, and I ended up liking it.
It looks good, Tim.
Thanks.
That doesn't look good, Kevin. But look at the effort that you guys have put in. You've got a collar. I don't have a collar.
Speaking of MLS All-Star, check out this fancy hat that I got for being a VIP for the All-Star game.
Nice cap.
Ooh, and you get this little custom emblem on the back with this lowrider. Which for some reason symbolizes Atlanta because we ride like 57 Chevys that are dropped down all the time. We chop them and drop them.
Where else have I seen super cool custom dope hats? Oh, I know. GetHomeBeforeDark.com/shop. Get yours.
That is correct. That is correct.
So should we start with All-Star? I know it's super outdated. Just a couple minutes. Thoughts on All-Star?
All-Star. Well, I will say I don't like to mix business and pleasure whenever talking about these things, but I will say MLS because I worked with them throughout the process. Our companies are partners, and I will say they did a hell of a job hospitality-wise with us to kind of reward us for the effort that we put in, and it was awesome. The VIP experience, going down in club, watching all the players go in and out constantly. It did get a little annoying when we were trying to leave. And they had the stanchions up. We had to somehow like climb out of the stadium. But the amenities, again, the VIP, this hat, I've gotten a couple compliments on it. It's where'd you get that? I feel weird saying this, but it's a VIP thing.
I liked it until I saw the back of it.
Well, it was one of seriously though, like this was probably the best emblem, and this is some of the things there were I'm not going to knock the artists because I just don't think they're good for hats. Like I think that they would stand alone. But anyway, there weren't a whole lot of options. I wanted to put something on there, but it's a nice new era hat. It fits nicely.
Any standout performances from All-Star game aside from Joseph, obviously, who gets the lone goal?
Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, I thought Alphonso Davies had a great game. The other guy that stood out to me was Ellis. Like he just had a great game late, I thought.
The Black Panther, yeah. He's something else, man. I really enjoy watching that guy play, even whenever he's except for whenever he's thrashing us in that 4-0 rout at the beginning of the season. He's definitely on another level, and he's a top player. I think he's on that top level of MLS talent, honestly, and I think he's a little underrated. I think the way that he kind of runs that team, and between he and Manotas. Yeah. The way that they're able to be the engine of that team that just constantly attacks and takes chances and scores goals. In the fact, I think he's only 22, if I'm not mistaken. He's He's a hell of a player, though. Yeah, I that's one I completely forgot about, Kevin. It's been so long.
Dan, any thoughts on All-Star Game?
I give just a general thought. I did not care about this game in the slightest leading up to it. But seeing all the coverage and like all the MLS things they put on during the week was pretty incredible. And then when the game actually come up, it was a fun game to watch. I didn't realize that it'd be so much fun, like watching like Giovinco, Alfonso Davies, Barco, Almiron all coming together. And I felt like it was a complete cheesy American over the top sort of celebration. Like they were talking with Brad Guzan on the microphone while he was playing the game. It was just like, this is such a bastardization to any sort of like European soccer snob. And I loved it. I ate it up, and I'm kind of looking forward to the next one.
How much do you hate that you loved it, Dan?
So growing up, I was very sort of like, I was a big music snob. I'm like a dude. So I've embraced the entrepreneurial spirit of America and capitalism. So I thought I'm just at this point in my life where I just want to have fun and I want to be entertained.
I love the fact. What is it about? How long have you been in the States now? 10 years?
Yes. No, 12 years now.
12 years. Wow. I love that 12 years in, you're already an unabashed American. And it's more than I could say about most of my friends. And I love it, Dan. I love that you just eat up the campiness, but all at the same time taking what is actually great about America. And I really applaud you for that.
America should be proud of their culture.
Oh, don't say that too loud. You're going to trigger some folks.
Well, it's just like, so here's the deal. Like, people want to just import cultures from outside America and just assimilate them. And the really cool things about America are what, like, originally American. So barbecue, American craft IPAs, tailgating, and
Atlanta United.
And bourbon.
And bourbon. Yeah, exactly. So
Exactly.
Embrace the originality.
Yeah, I love what Gouda says. Gouda says he loves how it was ATL to the fullest, Waka Flocka, 2 Chainz, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be a tough act to follow.
Well, Orlando's got it, so does anybody think it's going to happen?
No, gosh. Yeah, that's the funny thing. We were talking about that is like they bitched and moaned so much that we got the All-Star game before them because they're stadium soccer specific and they got safe standing, which is actually a pretty solid point to put safe standing in there before you unveil a stadium, unlike DC where you have people falling 3 rows down in the supporter section. But yeah, it's okay. I guess it's not an Orlando City game. We know it's not going to be the same deal as it was this year for Atlanta, where you have 6 Atlanta, five Orlando players get voted in. It's not happening. You have Yoshi Otun again, and maybe Dom Dwyer, but that's probably about it.
Yeah. So speaking of Orlando, got to be game of the week this week, right? The Orlando DC United game last night.
Amazing.
Holy hell, what a game!
That's the Wayne Rooney I remember. Good old Wayne. Good job, man.
I just saw him making that run, and I was overjoyed to see him track that guy down and to get the tackle, and then to see the rest of it play out. It was like everything slowed down, and it was in slow motion to see it actually play out to close out the game. And for Atlanta not to be on the receiving end of it, and it to be Orlando of all people, couldn't have made me any happier to end the weekend.
Yeah, that cross was almost as good as Ronnie Jr. Gressel's.
Oh, God.
But didn't you find, like, the hang time on that cross was insane?
It was a Hail Mary.
Acosta had to run, I think, from outside the 18 all the way to basically just out the 6 to get on the end of it. And it just took forever to fall down. I'm surprised that none of the Orlando defenders were able to step up to him at that point.
I know we talk about goal of the week, and that's the thing that gets all the press every year and stuff like that. But one of the best assisting plays, I think we're going to, if not the best assisting play that we'll see all season. I mean, that play is up there with like David Villa's shot last year from midfield, because it was from behind midfield for him to track that down by himself, set up the play, have the field vision, and then to put it up there in a place where only Acosta could get it was awesome.
Yeah, the fact that the 5'3" man was able to score the game-winning header like that, it encompasses everything that has been Orlando over the past 18 months. It's pretty fantastic. And the other thing that's being lost right now, and I think Michael Ruiz is he's alluding to it here. How about Will Johnson killing it again?
Yeah,
I think the best part of this is the wife beater didn't even think, oh shit, the goalkeeper's upfield. Maybe I should look up and just have a shot. Maybe I should just loft the ball. Instead, he gives that ball away to a trailing Wayne Rooney who's coming back on defense. All applause to Wayne Rooney for that, but that was just a boneheaded, stupid play from Will Johnson. All he's got to do is even just kick it forward if you want to keep that 1 point. But instead, this will go down as the game that kind of cemented or catalyzed this DC United team to get them into the playoffs into that 6th seed.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
God, no.
Oh, no, they're tracking to finish. Right now, if they were even on games, I think they are 5th or something in the league.
Don't tell Kevin that.
Tim is going to stick to it. More power to you. I don't see it happening, though. Michelle had a good point, though, that she said, I hate that they still had to check VAR. Last night was one of the games where I saw a significant abuse of VAR throughout the entirety of the game, especially that second half. It seemed like every time the ball got turned over or anytime somebody stepped inside the 18, they were pulling up VAR to review something, whether it was offsides, whether it was a goal, whether it was actually a foul. It got to be absurd and laughable by the end of it.
We've had a couple mentions in the trap so far of infighting going on in the Orlando team, which is something that we've come to expect by now. But do you guys have any more details as to what actually happened?
Yeah, no? I have no clue. I haven't heard anything. I know that
I just heard they were fighting.
Well, I know that they've got so many problems right now. You've heard about all the fines and suspensions that they've had for Dwyer and the coach for all of their tweets and everything that they've been saying about the MLS as a league and the officiating and all of that. Now it's a locker room issue. You've got players just chopping at the bit to jump ship. I mean, it's awful, but it's so good to watch.
I know. I think what happened was somebody borrowed Dom Dwyer's guy liner and then promptly lost it. And also one of his little hairbands that he wears sometimes. I think maybe it was Joe Bendick he was playing with it and just broke it. So I felt bad for Dom Dwyer. But speaking of suspensions and red cards, so Christian Higuita got red carded. This game, and Yoshi Yotun got red carded last game and has had an additional game added to a suspension, which means when they play us, they will be without Christian Higuita, apparently one of the best midfielders in the world, and Yoshi Yotun, arguably two of their best players, will be out.
Yeah, we keep saying that. We keep saying that over and over about Higuita coming into these games against Atlanta, and he just never ends up doing a single thing on the field. I love whenever he's on the field because he just proves to be nothing more than a turnover machine. Like he doesn't do anything, and he's usually one of our MVPs in these games.
Oh, Elliot Beeman says Atlanta should steal Yotun from Orlando. I mean, I haven't seen a consistency out of him that I would say, yeah, that's an absolute thing that I would want to pursue personally.
I mean, I would take him, but I don't think I wouldn't imagine we would spend much effort trying to do that.
So the other big game this week for me was the Toronto game, which was another fun one to watch. Josie gets a red card in the 9th minute.
Karma.
That guy is just not very likable.
No, he is the heel of the MLS at this point, right?
Yeah.
He's definitely one of them. He's like Bam Bam Bigelow in the early 90s. I think he should shave his head and then get some flame tattoos on the side of his head. He did. I don't know, man. He's he gets away with it more than he gets caught. I mean, the kicking out like that, like it's one thing. Like Brandon Vasquez getting that red card last year was totally justified, and it was a kicking out, but not like deliberate like this. I feel like this is one thing that's lost on me. You know, recently, violent conduct does not seem to warrant a 3-game suspension unless I'm mistaken. Has that rule changed where a red card due to violent conduct, it's supposed to be an automatic 3-game suspension, is it not?
It doesn't happen whenever Joseph Martinez headbutts guys in the box, dude. It's conspiracy.
Oh, brother. Yeah. No, I mean, it is. Hey, look at me. I'm wearing my hat like a child. I got to start wearing my clothes like a GD adult. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, kicking out at guys like that, and then I can't remember the instance last week that was like that too. It was
whenever he put his hands around Miguel's throat. Was that?
Right. No. Sorry, no. No, I was actually thinking of Mavinga.
The punch to LGP's face.
Yeah. What did that end up getting anything other than a single game suspension for Mavinga?
Not that I saw.
I think it was just a single.
It's so weird to me. I don't know. I always remember if it's in England at least, Dan, right? It's a 3-game suspension if you are thrown out of the game for violent conduct, like at a minimum. Yeah. Unless you're Mason Holgate, and then you can push somebody into the stands and not.
Kendrick said he got an additional game. Kendrick Brock says he got an additional game. Yeah.
Well,
so back to that game. I mean, thoughts on? I know I just mentioned the Toronto NYC game, but we didn't really talk about the draw with Atlanta against Toronto last weekend. Should we kind of back up and talk about that a little bit, and then move forward into the NYC discussion?
Sure.
So we're all familiar. Atlanta comes back being down 1 goal, brings it back 2-1, ends up conceding the tying goal. Or wait, no, brings it back 1-1. What was it?
Yeah,
it was 2-1.
It was 1-1, 2-1 Atlanta.
Yeah, it was 2-1 before Tristan Ricketts scored that goal at the end.
So the first goal gets scored in stoppage time in the first half. Atlanta claws back in the second, brings it back 2-1, and then Toronto scores in the dying moments in stoppage time in the 90th to equalize 2-2. A lot of stuff online. We could talk about the game specifically. One of the biggest things is discussions about Atlanta's ability to close out games and what games like that mean looking towards the Supporter Shield. I have a big bone to pick with Dan James, who can't pick a spot between outrage and content. And I don't know why, when just 3 weeks ago, whenever we draw New York Red, or no, what game was it that we draw? And you're like, oh, if Atlanta plays like this, we're going to get thrashed by New York Red Bulls at NYCFC. I make essentially the same point 3 weeks later. But
no. You were way milder in that too. All you said is we're not going to win Supporter Shield. New York Red Bulls is going to win it.
And then Dan comes out, no, whatever, guys, we're good. Don't worry, everything's fine. I have an accent. Trust me, these fuckers don't know what they're talking about.
So, what was that game, Kevin? The previous game that we drew, was it Dallas?
No, because we lost.
I know we didn't. No, I know we lost, but I can't remember what game it was.
It was one of the games around Dallas.
The game that really
Seattle.
Maybe it's Portland or Seattle.
Yeah, it was
the game
Seattle.
that really changed my tune. The reason why I changed my tune on it was because I remember after reading through Twitter and everybody was just being so negative, and I was just sick of it. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was ATL Trains posted something on an MLS article and Matt Doyle screenshotted it and left it for everyone to read. And I was like, guys, this is getting out of hand. We've got 10 games left. I mean, a lot could happen in 10 games. I feel like people were just being so unreasonable.
I think it's valid.
Trend. Yeah, it is. It's a worrying trend, but trends can be broken.
Right. So, I think people that just make the assumption that because of the draw, the season's over. And there's definitely a middle ground.
That's what I was railing against.
Yeah, there's definitely a middle ground there. And to be concerned about the trend, and not so much even the trend in Atlanta, but to observe a very valid trend in an upticking New York Red Bulls team that right now has more points per game leading into the Supporter Shield race with games in hand, that they will be the contender to knock Atlanta out of the running. I don't think that's an invalid point. And then it just becomes this snake eating the tail sort of deal where people are like, well, you can't say that Atlanta's not going to win it and then be able to celebrate whenever they do. Bullshit. I can still have an opinion and be happy when Atlanta wins it.
No,
of course,
Kevin,
I want
you
Atlanta
cannot
to
have
win
an
it,
opinion.
but I can still speculate and be rational about what else is happening around the league outside of Atlanta United.
I think both sides of the argument, are kind of valid. You can go either way. You can go optimistically or you can go pessimistically. But I mean, the other thing is we've got the points in the bag. Red Bulls are still on potential.
Games in hand only matter for the points that you get out of them.
Exactly. I think they've only got one more game now.
They've only got they only have one on us now, and then but again, I think they're the only team that's above 2 points per game right now, averaging. So they could easily. They're only one behind us right now, and that's not to guarantee that they win their next game, like you said. But just like DC United's back half of the season, or not even back half. Well, I guess it is a back half for them. Their remaining games are what lead me to believe that they're not going to be a playoff team, is the same reasoning why I think that New York Red Bulls back end of the season lends themselves to be able to be a team to leap Atlanta in the standings.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Tim?
I am thinking that I'm just still amazed at the fact that you lose Jesse Marsch, who's arguably one of the best, top 3, top 5 managers in MLS, and you don't miss a beat. That's where I think there is a massive difference. I'm going to back Kevin up on this. I think there's a massive difference. I think there's an absolute massive difference between being pessimistic and being realistic without putting your team down. I don't think I didn't read that into what you were saying, Kevin, that we're a bad team. I read that as saying right now we are not the best team trending forward. And there's absolutely no harm or there's no harm in saying that. I think we've said this on the show plenty before, where as long as I think the two of us, at least, I don't know about you, Dan, but I think the two of us are absolutely content with a number 2 seed, so we can get that bye week when going into the playoffs and home field advantage starting off in the second round. I think that is absolutely essential, and I think that should be the goal to me. Not the goal. I'll take that back. Supporter Shield should always be the goal for the team to hit. But I think that the realistic and acceptable marker to hit is going to be second place. I don't think there's any harm in saying that either, because I think Red Bulls have proven themselves to be a great team. I mean, you look at that team top to bottom, they're going to be hard to break down, and they're going to be hard to keep from scoring. I mean, this is the best Red Bulls team I've seen since we started watching MLS, even whenever I was watching it kind of sparingly prior. They look way better than they did last year. They look better than they did earlier on in the season, and they're peaking. I mean, they're peaking without Jesse Marsch at the helm, and I think they have a chip on their shoulder. They've never won cup. I don't know if they have any silverware, if I'm not mistaken, or did they win U.S. Open Cup? They didn't, right? SKC won it last year, so I don't. Right. I think that they're hungry. I think that, again, they have a chip on their shoulder. They have this this moniker, not moniker. What am I trying to think? I'm trying to think of the word. They have this. Anyway, people think they can't win the title. They can't win the big game. They can't step up whenever it's
misconception.
Necessary. I don't know at this point if it's a misconception. I think they have a stigma to shake at this point. Stigma is what I'm looking for. I think that they're really looking to shake that this year. I hope that we put a stop to that. I think we're built to be able to put a stop to that. But we have to play at our very best. And I think that what you're saying, Kevin, is we're not at our peak right now.
Right. And I think the other thing that lends itself to this conversation is examining and trying to compare both teams and where they are situationally right now. And acknowledging the fact that right now, the information and the trend is based on the lineup that Atlanta United currently has available. We're without Nagby. We're without Barco, until we don't know when, which is a separate point I want to get to, Tata's statement on that, which I thought was phenomenal. We're going through lineup changes. Remedi's in now, and we're still kind of finding ground. But you look at Red Bulls, who has been consistently building and building and building with a consistent lineup, and they're peaking, to your point. I think that Atlanta still has a lot of room to do so, but I don't know how or when they get there. And that's the concerning factor, is that we start to be inconsistent and drop these games at critical moments. We really don't want to find ourselves having to scramble and rely on other teams whenever we're in a position to close something out. No, I don't expect us to win every game. Yes, I understand teams lose. Yes, I love this club more than almost any other team I've ever watched in my entire life, if not more so.
And
Kevin.
But I can still be critical and observant of the things that are taking place. And I think it's a disservice to do anything but that, to start to look at these teams critically. Even Tata's doing it in his press conferences and talking about how it's important to be closing these games out, yada, yada, yada. And we need to find a way to do that. So
I don't understand how you should not be critical of your team. I mean, I know in my education, and as to yours as well, Kevin, I mean, you are continuously looking for improvement and tearing ideas down and reestablishing them. I don't know how any other way you can continually improve.
Right. So the other thing about the Toronto game to mention is the lineup, which I just mentioned, that Atlanta has been going through a lot of different transitions, a lot of different formations. We did see the return of the three-back, which I kind of thought we would see against this Toronto team. We didn't think that they were going to have a lot of pressing forward momentum threat. What did you guys think? Who was it? I guess Ambrose is out the rest of the season now, confirmed with his injury and
3 to 4
surgery. We don't know. It seems like Garza's training. I don't expect to see him anymore this season. Nagby has been tentatively planned to come back in September. We did see the start of Remedi, which was interesting, and I definitely enjoyed that. But at the trade-off of bringing in Remedi and putting Villalba and Gressel in up top, we did not see Carlton in the starting position, which I thought was an interesting trade-off there.
But we saw the same thing in Montreal, right? I mean, Remedi played that entire game, but we weren't, to your credit, or to your point, we weren't playing a three-back there. It's weird. I think that's part of the reason that we're seeing the inconsistency there, is that there is inconsistency in the lineup. I mean, we talked about it before that Toronto game, that I fully expected that 3-5-2 to come out just because of the dearth of options whenever it came to a left back. Now we have an option at left back, one that Dan's probably not too happy about, that Kevin and I are foaming at the mouth to see on the field.
Has he played enough minutes yet?
Hashtag Bello's yet, boys.
Can he play one game? Maybe just like 5 minutes? How long?
So when we started this conversation way back when, we actually had options at left back, and we were looking to just throw him up there.
Well, guess what? We might have all those options still available.
Just wait till my predicted lineup is later.
So we're talking about George Bello, obviously. If you guys go over to DirtySouthSoccer.com, our buddy Joe Patrick has a fine article about the young man, the 16-year-old that's likely going to make an MLS debut at some point this season, if not on Sunday, which would be very interesting.
That was a great article.
He's a hell of a writer, that Joe Patrick. I'm very excited if he were to get on the pitch. But in talking about the Toronto lineup, I don't know. It's one of those things we have to start adapting, and we adapted okay to that Toronto team. We just gave away the goal at the end. We got caught. It happens. I'm not going to say it's excusable, but at the same time, it happens. I mean, it's professional soccer. You're playing against a team who won Cup last year, who's absolutely capable in every facet of the game of doing that, and we just gave up a goal.
I think the subtext.
Feel like it's just classic. I feel like it's classic MLS. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, we dominated. We actually played really well. It's just these these miscommunications at the end that allow that lapse and allow the goal to come through.
Well, what's happening at the end of these games, if you look at the Dallas game, if you look at the Toronto game, these games are slipping whenever these substitutions are coming in and trying to get their footing. And then it's happening really, really late. And I think that Tata made a statement about that in one of his press conferences where he was saying, all the guys on the bench are on the bench for a reason. And we expect them to play and step up whenever they're called on. And I expect them to be foaming at the mouth whenever they get out on the field, which I think was his exact words. And I don't think we're really seeing that consistently out of our substitutions. Yes, we're seeing it out of our veteran players and occasionally out of some of our youth players. But over the past few weeks, whenever Romario comes in or whenever we're bringing Miles Robinson in against Dallas to bring back that fourth back, these situations that we're just not seeing, whether it's just them not being comfortable coming in as a substitution or a lack of really taking charge and taking control of the game, there's something happening in that transition with our substitutions late in the game that is concerning to me. It's not our initial lineup that's being exposed in those situations. It's a lineup with all three of our substitutions used, plus some formational changes in the dying moments of a game. That's whenever everybody needs to be aware and step up to hold a line.
And I think that's what Brian Diefenbach's making a good point about. He says we are changing our style of play too late to hold on instead of continuing the press.
Right, and that's the other concerning thing is Tata had another comment about that, saying we've seen teams take advantage of time wasting and the ref not calling it, and maybe we should start doing the same thing. That's the last thing I want to see this Atlanta team do. I want to see them pressing. I want to see them playing the game that they've played for the other 88 minutes and not fall back and try to park a bus just to close out a game, because that's not how this team is built to play. We've seen it fail time and time again whenever this team tries to park the bus, that they just get completely exposed because they're not built to do that.
No, I agree with you completely. I mean, we could pass around, we can get up, we could pass around and we could press, but you're right. I mean, the second we try and park the bus or, hold on to that lead with the intent to hold on to the lead as opposed to continuing to play to our strengths, it is where we end up shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I am not a fan of trying to, we don't really bunker, but I am not a fan of trying to play more defensively with only a 1-goal lead. I feel like it may
I understand
be two,
if you're a man down. If you're a man down, I can understand that.
Absolutely.
But if it's 11 on 11, there's no reason to be doing that.
Right. But then, the other thing is, yes, at the end of the game, it came down to Toronto scoring an equalizer, but there were opportunities that would have put the game out of reach long before a defensive woe ended the game.
22 shots, 7 of them on goal, and only 2 goals.
I was actually happy to see Almiron start to put some on frame again. It's been a few weeks since we've seen him consistently take some shots at goal. Yes, he has a one-on-one with the keeper that you think should go in. But overall, I thought he was at least pretty consistent with his placement.
Yeah, I love the chances we're creating. I just want us to finish them.
Well, this is chickens coming home to roost, right? You can't say don't worry about it. You can't say don't worry about the poor finishing, and then also be mad that we're mad about the 2-2 draw here. I mean, it really is chickens coming home to roost. It's we have a penchant for high volume of shots and chances. Problem is, of late, especially in the past, I would say 3-4 months, but save a few games, we've had an issue with actually putting those balls into the back of the net, and those games it ends up costing us.
Yeah, I think it's just, Almiron's in a funk right now in terms of finishing. I really think that it's not something to worry about. It's just soccer, and these things happen. And the way I look about it, at the end of the day, I wouldn't have anybody else on my team instead of him. So he's just something he's going to work through as, it's part of the development of a player. So.
Yeah, I agree. So speaking of player development, Barco on indefinite substitution, developing character, so to speak.
You mean suspension, not substitution.
Oh, yeah, suspension. So Tata has a presser yesterday or 2 days ago mentioning when we think Barco will come back. He mentions the fact that he is setting a precedent and that the culture and community around the team and the locker room is more important than who's starting the game, and trying to read too much into the other opponent or the stat sheet or the score sheet.
I have the quotes. I have the quotes in front of me. If you want me to read them,
read the quotes.
Yeah, it says, "I know soccer is a business and we have to win, but I'm not doing this just because I'm crazy and on my own. I decided this player is not going to play and we take him out of the team. There's a culture that we want to establish in the club, a way of life that we need to install, and we would like it to be respected, and it goes beyond results. Because imagine if I'm so worried about the result of the next match or the match in the weekend that I decide not to take the necessary action for an incident like this, I would be making a mistake. I would basically be saying the results are above the way of life, conduct, and image of this club, or image that this club wants to have. And for me, it is exactly the opposite. Luckily, the club supports me and agrees with my decision." And he continues, which that's my favorite part, is that the club is backing him. Ezekiel has been training. He comes every day and we talk about soccer, but he's not going to know when he's coming back. Another thing I like there. I'm the one that will decide when I think the punishment is fulfilled, and then he'll rejoin the team. I don't mind playing without him against Toronto, Columbus, which hasn't happened yet, guys, and Montreal. I'm not going to base the punishment on who we play next. This is how things have to be. He, Barco, knows that, and it's going to be like this as long as the manager wants, and he has to be ready. So that's the big point I wanted to ask you guys or bring up is, did you read enough into that, or do you read into that saying that Barco's, again, suspended this weekend?
I think so, and I don't think that whenever he does come back, it will be in a starting role. I think it will be multiple weeks of him coming in as a substitution in the 70th, 75th minute, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him until for another maybe 3 or 4 weeks, to be honest, in a starting position anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. However, really, it's all speculation. There's no way I could really say this for definite, but I think he could easily start
on Sunday. See, I don't think Tata's a man who minces his words. I think
I don't either.
I don't think it's reading between the lines to hear him say that. To have him put Columbus in the mix along with the Montreal and Toronto games, which Barco's already sat for. I think it's going to happen again. I don't think he makes the 18. I think he is again traveling with the team, or not traveling with the team, obviously, because we're at home, but with the team, but he's not playing. I don't think there's any chance that he sees the field. We have another guy in Andrew Carlton that's obviously going to be able to step up there. We got Teeter that could play over to the left if you want to put Gressel on the right. We have so many options there that as long as he wants him to sit out and face a suspension, it's going to happen. And again, he's not pressured to do it. I think even if he didn't have that wealth of options that he has, I think that he would still probably stick to his guns and sit the kid.
Yeah, I totally concede that. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes you wonder though, like, is it really that bad? What Barco did?
I mean, I'm not. So when I first found out about it, I had a really bad night's sleep. I was really worried about it, which is terrible. I mean, get a life. But after hearing Tata's comments on that, I love the team. I love that they're instilling that culture, and I love that the culture is so important to them, because ultimately I think that gives you the more potential for long-term success. And getting your players comfortable and getting your players respectful of the system, so they understand that they are just part of a system, it's way more than you can hope for.
I know I had the subtext earlier, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tie it back to Clemson, just a couple weeks outside of college football season. But that's one of the things that I love about Clemson and what Dabo's done with Clemson. No kid is above being reprimanded for their actions. I think that is a trait that all head coaches and managers should have. And whether it's at a collegiate level or a professional level, if players get out of line or do something at the expense of the rest of the team and the locker room, they need to be held accountable. And I am 100% on board with Tata on that.
This makes me, so watching Last Chance U makes me want to not learn more Spanish, because I want to just imagine that Tata, whenever he's yelling at those players, is saying the same things that Coach Brown guy is in that new season. Like, if you're not fucking buying into the program, you got to get out. You gotta.
He's got a southern Spanish accent. If you're not fucking buying into the program.
he is from South America. Actually, no, the guy in the new season's from South Central. He's not even from the South. No, I mean, how great would that be? Like, I mean, yeah, Dean, you're so silly. Our buddy Dean in the live chat in the trap saying
Dean maybe just wants to stir the pot.
Maybe it was flirt texting back and forth. You don't get 3-game suspension for like sending suggestive text messages.
Side note: who says flirt texting?
And then he said sexting. I don't know. Yes, sexting is the proper term, or as us grown folk like to call it, dick pics.
Sliding into them DMs, which is what Brittany's going to do now that she found out that it appears that Vasquez may be single.
Oh,
that's what it seems like. There are a lot of women vying for that, Brittany. So go do your thing, girl. Because
Vasquez is a handsome.
I mean,
man.
if you want to, it's your choice. No means no.
If and you want to.
Kevin, you never told me that.
Well, you never said no. Okay, so
can we talk about Columbus? Because Elliot's asking if anybody watched the Liverpool game, and I could talk for like an hour and a half about that.
Yeah, I saw a bit. It was really great. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez are going to have many a clean sheet this year, and so on and so forth. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best right back that England has had in some time now. So
Williams and Vasquez. I know that they're playing a game here and there at ATL2, but is anyone concerned about, like, the last couple of times either of them really have come onto the field, they haven't made any sort of impact and have been pretty non-existent.
I think that's part of the problem is our substitutes have not been impact substitutes. They've not been put out there to make an impact. They've been out there to just kind of tread water for the rest of the game.
But there's no... My concern more is that there seems to be zero chemistry between them and the rest of the team. And I worry that because I'm not saying pull Joseph out. That's just crazy talk.
Did you say pull Joseph out? What the fuck is wrong with you? Did you say pull Joseph out?
I'm gonna chop this up, and Dan James hates Joseph.
No, you're gonna chop and screw it up. That's right. So it's all like super slow motion.
Like, I'm gonna make like
Mike Jones.
I'm not saying Paul Martinez.
Pull Martinez out. Pull Martinez out. Pull Martinez out.
I do worry that they're just not gonna get the minutes that makes them effective, because I feel like Joseph's big impact is being able to, obviously score goals, but provide link-up play throughout the midfield and be able to track back in defense. Like, he's always in the middle of the drama on the pitch, pretty much, of where it's happening. But when the other two come on, it's like Williams will like kick a pass that'll get intercepted, or they're just not on the same page. And I don't know how else you're going to do that without giving them playing minutes. But
see, I'm with Brian here. He says, I mean, how do you really hate them when they're getting like 10 minutes here and there? I think that's it. I think that's the story to me. And I think you can't expect a whole lot from them whenever they're not getting the play time to even prove themselves. And we're talking about this. We're out at the Station Soccer logo contest unveiling thing at Hampton and Hudson earlier today. And I was talking to Jason Longshore about Vasquez and how he's looked a shell of himself, I guess, of late. And when you're talking about last year, when he was really making a name for himself throughout some of the year, we had to give him a chance, bro, moments, and he did really well. And
getting red cards, I agree, he did really good.
Just give him a chance.
Did really good at getting red cards.
The problem that I'm seeing is like last year he was, because of the Joseph injury, because of other things going on, he was getting a lot more consistent, meatier game time than he is now. And he's having a chance. He had a chance last year whenever he's blending in with the team and building chemistry throughout longer periods on the field. This year he's not getting that. And that's I don't know. You can't blame Tata because you don't want to pull Joseph Martinez out. And then you can't blame the players either because they're getting 10 minutes a game. They should be coming out hungry. I kind of disagree that Romario Williams is coming out and he's not hungry. It doesn't look hungry. I think that he's chasing balls down. He's trying to beat guys. He's trying to dribble past guys. I just think that the situations that they're being brought into aren't really conducive to them looking like great substitutions.
Yeah, they're definitely victims of situation. I just worry, then what do we do? It's.
I thought your mic got screwed off.
I'm just worrying about nothing to worry about, really. I mean,
in this exclusive, Dan James says, pull Martinez out or he'll get injured, or he's gonna end up injured. Dan James threatens Joseph Martinez in the latest Home Before Dark
with a lead pipe. And Dan James.
Yeah. He's just jealous of my car. I saw his Ferrari. Get yourself a minivan, man. Come on.
So I think the way the substitution should be handled, to your point, is the way that they were handled last year, where we were making substitutions for a player that we knew was going to be out and the depth was rotated in appropriately. So right now, Barco is out. We have a player that's been subbed in Remedi for players that have needed to get rest time. We have the same thing with Miles Robinson. I think those are your three substitutions, aside from, obviously, Kevin Kratz, who is a stud whenever you need him to be, if you need something attacking in midfield outside of Eric Remedi. But I think those are the substitutions that lend themselves a little bit more applicable than the Romario or the Brandon Vasquez. And just keep Joseph in. I mean, there's no need to take him off. I know you don't want to keep him in there, but if you're going to take him off for a player.
Why are you going to take him off, Kevin?
If you're going to take him off for another player and then push somebody up that can play up top. Push Villalba up top or push Almiron up top or something like that, and then bring in these other substitutions that are getting play time and are obviously gelling with the team in a meaningful way.
I actually there were a couple games earlier on in the season where Romario was getting playtime with Joseph up front. Where we switched more to a 4-4-2.
I think he's much, much, much more dynamic and much more
I like that. Yeah, like subbing Tito off for Williams, maybe.
He should
playing 3-5-2 or something like that.
Because Romario isn't the type of player that is going to make defenses intimidated. You haven't seen enough out of him consistently to take on defenses. What you have seen Romario do is capitalize on opportunities generated by Martinez or Villalba pulling defenses towards them, and then Romario finding the slot to fill space and then making and creating chances that way. So I think he needs to be grounded with somebody up top that can start to make defenses second and triple guess themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, outside of Martinez, the one up front hasn't worked.
No. So guys, we have 7 minutes kind of in our slotted time. And we have yet to talk about the Columbus game coming up on Sunday. On Kevin's 30th birthday.
Are you serious? Isn't it all downhill, Kev? 30 was the first birthday that I really felt old.
It's the worst. I'm just like, I'm down to a few days left in my 20s, and I can feel it. I can feel every hair follicle falling out. All the fat just accumulating in all the wrong places. It's bad. I don't want to look like you, Dan. I don't want to be old.
That's kind of messed up. I'm glad you at least didn't target me, since we're not even a year apart.
You get it enough from me, Tim. I'll let you slide this time.
God. The
That's what she said.
Oh, God. So we talked at length about New York Red Bulls, and one team that has beaten them recently is the team we're playing on Sunday. I don't buy into sports math where one team beats another team, therefore they're going to beat this team. I think, obviously, matchups dictate everything. And outside of the playoff game that we played against them,
we played them this year whenever we beat them 2-0 on the road. However, that was a game that we saw Columbus get multiple opportunities that were just narrow misses. I think this is a team that needs to be respected, that could easily come in here and pull out a win, if not a draw, against Atlanta. That seems to be, really good at its best and then inconsistent at its worst. So right, I don't know.
They have a 3-game win streak going on right now, and where you wouldn't really include Orlando. I mean, Orlando is the first game to start that win streak that they're on. It's not a great, all joking aside, they're not a great side. Then they go to New Jersey and they beat the Red Bulls. They come back home.
Columbus.
They come back home and they beat Houston Dynamo at home. And they shut them out. Zach Steffen gets a clean sheet there. And Jossie Zardes scores a 90-something minute goal. Is that right? 91st minute.
Right in the end, yeah.
He's back in second place, if I'm not mistaken, in the Golden Boot race. And they're a team to be feared. Granted, we have their number in the regular season. We've yet to lose to them in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. We beat them twice last year.
And 2-0 and 2-0, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Have they scored on us in the
Brian
regular
makes
season?
a really good point about your stat on the Red Bulls game, that they did not start Bradley Wright Phillips or Kaku in that game.
Yeah. That is a very good point, because you're talking about
they brought them on in the second half and went to the 4-2-3-1 and promptly got right back into the game. So
that bodes well for us, because we're going to have Franco Escobar back on Sunday. We're going to be able to deploy a 4-2-3-1 again, as we were doing in weeks leading up to the Toronto game. And I think that we're going to be back in business. I don't know about you guys. I think we're going to put at least 3 past Columbus on this game.
3?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to come out hungry. We had that break. We had a really disappointing draw at the end of that Toronto game where we weren't able to finish chances. I think that the guys are going to come out. They're going to be ferocious. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be clinical for a change.
I want Joseph Martinez to set the goal-scoring record on my birthday. That's what I want. I want a brace out of Joseph Martinez. I think Atlanta pulls it out 2-1.
So I did a little bit of research on Columbus.
This is why I hate having you back on the show, Dan. Stop making us look bad.
No, so here, I'll just go through it and you can tell me to shut up if you want to.
Shut up.
You said if I want to. You didn't have to.
So obviously, the 2 big guys, Zardes with 14 goals, Higuain with 4 goals and 5 assists, but their highest rated player across a couple of platforms, is Pedro Santos, who plays either on the left wing or the right wing. He's a little bit better rated on the left. He's only got 1 goal and 3 assists, but I believe he has the most shots of any player on the team. He has 44 total shots, and only 20 of those are off target. So that's a relatively good ratio when we snidely look at some of our other players. Columbus have their strengths are defending set pieces. They've defended. They've only conceded.
Eating in the microphone? Come on.
What did I do?
Eating
in my fault.
God damn it, Kevin.
Can't take you anywhere.
What,
Kevin,
man?
Hey,
this is good. This is
I'm
entertaining.
reading
just
stats,
eating
man.
popcorn over here. Just, give me more, Dan. I need more stats and trends. Let's go. Keep going.
All right, so defending set pieces, they've conceded 4 free kicks and 2 PKs. So you compare that to Atlanta, who's conceded 8 goals to free kicks and 4 to PKs. The other strength is attacking those set pieces. So they've got 7 goals and free kicks, 6 PKs. You compare that to Atlanta has 6 free kicks, 6 goals from free kicks and 10 goals from PKs. So we're at the top of the charts with the penalties. And apparently they're really good at protecting the lead. I couldn't find the additional stats to support that, but I'll just throw it in there anyway. So here's why I think we're going to win, because of their weaknesses.
Finally. All you've been telling us is how great they are.
Their weakness is, one of their weaknesses, finishing scoring chances.
Oh, wait. So, are you talking about Columbus or Atlanta?
Exactly. So they've had a total team number of shots of 342, and they've got 31 goals out of that. So if you look at Atlanta, and we have 360 shots, and we have 50 goals out of that. So we're actually much better at finishing our chances than they are. They're also really weak at defending the counter. They've given up 3 goals to defending to counterattack in pieces. They also have 0 goals when they try to counterattack. They're kind of a slow possession-based team, which ultimately I think plays into Atlanta United's hands.
Absolutely.
They're also last in the league from goals from open play with 16. Atlanta is 8th with 26 goals from open play. And Atlanta is 2nd with 6 goals scoring on counterattacks. And that's only second to Vancouver, who have scored, let me focus on that, like 10. Oh, that's a terrible. Anyway, so because of those weaknesses, I think we could take them. I think it could be another 2-0. I'm going to say we win at least by 2 goals.
So are you saying, your analysis TLDR is Columbus or Paper Tigers? Like they're not the 4th best team in the East?
The thing is, no. I'm saying their weaknesses favor us. I don't think there are many teams in MLS that are complemented with the strengths that we have. And so my predicted lineup for them against us, so you've got Zardes up front, Santos, Higuain, Justin Merrim's back. Then you've got Artur and Will Trapp, who are beasts in the defensive midfield, along with Valenzuela, who's been playing very well. You've also got Mensah and Affel, and you can either sub in and out with Williams or Abubakar. And Abubakar has been fantastic this year. But so has Josh Williams, and he seems to be keeping Abubakar on the bench. So they've got a lot of strength, and plus you throw in Zach Steffen as well. That's a decent team. That's a very, very strong team. So I don't think they're Paper Tigers.
So what's your score? So what's your score prediction? You still haven't said.
2-0.
Okay. Maybe you said it, and all those numbers, I couldn't pick it out.
Well, I'm sure everyone's tuned out for the past 5 minutes, so it doesn't really matter.
I just finally came to the realization that your video feed is like an outtake from the Blair Witch Project. It's got perfect setting, perfect lighting, perfect camera angle. It's the full package.
Yeah, I'm just going to go stand in the corner.
You're the full package, Dan. Dude, please be kind to your captors, whoever they may be. Are they Somali pirates? Are they good to you at least?
They're all right. They let me out on weekends.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so that's all the score predictions. Anything else? No new ratings on iTunes, as you mentioned. If you do enjoy the show, however you found us, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit some stars on iTunes. Leave us a review if you want to hear it read on the show. We do have the Home Before Dark Fantasy League. I think John F. Beasy is uncatchable even in Season 2 so far.
Season 2, he is not. I don't see him right now. I see Adam Lewis, who is Claremont Lounge FC, where dreams are made, in first place.
Okay.
Transmission FC, Andrew Kolk, who is a NYCFC fan. That's interesting, in second. The Bill Holcomb in third. We have Darren Neal's Dream Team. Jackson Popkin, he is just those two, man. They're always up there. FC Apogee, which is Nathan Lines, in fifth. Where do we have where are the Home Before Dark guys at? We have.
Oh, dude, I haven't even set a lineup in months.
I started 3 Atlanta players this week.
I haven't had a lineup in months.
Are you kidding me that I'm beating you guys right now?
Well, how could you not be?
That's not my fault.
Didn't you guys do a predicted 11?
You can't blame the kid who gets a perfect attendance record at school for showing up. Like,
whatever, nerd. So, Brian, yes, I think we will definitely meet up in the Gulch this weekend. We need to confirm that Elder Tree is doing their tailgate this Sunday. Be sure to find us on Twitter, Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. But the thought is that we will do a live broadcast this Sunday. I'm getting a haircut, but it can't be in the Gulch because nobody wants hair flying around all of their grilled food.
You think anybody's going to know? Everybody's going to be so drunk. I don't think anybody's going to be able to tell. It's not going to be any different than normal. I don't think
that's true.
It's not changing anything.
So, yeah, come find
Are we still
us.
doing that?
No, that's not happening.
Okay.
So, yeah, come find us in the Gulch. We're going to try to do a live show. We'll keep you guys posted on Twitter. That said, you can find all of us, including our latest foray into team building and community service, which is Station Soccer. We've been playing pickup the past few weeks since our MLS All-Star rendezvous. We're going to be out there again this Wednesday. Tim's actually going to come out and play this week with me.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be mic'd up during the game, by the way.
You guys can sign up. You need to RSVP on the meetup. They're really pushing that. It's capped at 25 people. And you can sign up at 5:30 Tuesday for the Wednesday pickup. It does only run from 5:30 to 7:30 though, so you need to try to get out there early, sometime after work. Take the MARTA down, hop out at 5 Point Station, and kick it around with us. Had a great time last week, and hoping to get a team set up in the fall with some people that are really interested and dedicated to playing regularly. So, as they open up more stations, West End opens up in September, so that'll be really fun.
I'm again, if you guys would be so kind, go over to Soccer in the Streets, Soccer Streets on Instagram. They're really close to. Let's just do this. Let's set a marker. 2,000 followers. They're at like 1975 right now. Go and give them a follow. They also have a contest going on for Station Soccer. There are local artists in Atlanta who have all submitted. I think there are 6 in total that made the final cut that are up on Instagram. Go give your favorite a like on there, and also follow Soccer Streets. They're a great organization. We love working with them. We love helping raise funds. We love interacting with them, and then seeing the fruits of the labor and being able to participate whenever we can out at Soccer Streets. It's or Soccer in the Streets and Station Soccer. It's a great time, great organization, and I guess I'll stop now.
However you found us, we appreciate it. And I'm glad, Dan, we found a fix. I hope that you find a better fix to your current situation. I'm glad you finally figured out the camera, though. So that is a much improved situation. But
thanks, man.
I'm glad we got a way to get you in here whenever you can't be in the studio. So
me too. Obviously, I need to fix my background.
And the foreground, if you can do anything about it.
I've just got like a whole bunch of like Darth Vader masks or something, so maybe I'll just wear that next time. But
All right, so you can find all of us on Twitter. Dan, where can they find you at?
You can find me at DNJMS.
Tim, how about you?
You can find me catcalling at Tim Herb.
You can find me as well at The Architect. That's at _ARC. The number 1 TECT. Find us collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Try to find out who's tweeting at which time of day or night, whatever the situation may be. Hope to see you guys.
So is Kevin.
Hope to see you guys on Sunday. Nonetheless, hope to get another 3 points, and we'll see you next week. As always, be home before dark.
MLS to ATX, motherfuckers!